Hello my fine gardening friends, how the devil are you? Welcome to a sun starting to come out early morning here in beautiful Nova Scotia. It is the end of the first week in July, and I'm sat in my new seat and surrounded by my new bed, and as you can see, I've got a few plants just about coming in now, some box on the edges which are going to sort of be one of the sort of framing plants, because it's going to be a mixed veg come flower bed, and the archway here, and yeah, filled it up with earth, which was a big effort, because it's getting quite warm here in Nova Scotia. As I said, it's the end of the first week, so July the 4th, that most important day in the calendar. No, not July the 4th as in American Independence Day, the traitors, but it was the day back in 1983 that I joined the Royal Navy, and what an absolutely wonderful decision that was in my life. 26 years of escapades and adventures and all sorts of things. So a wonderful time in my life, which has led me to Canada. And this last weekend just gone, actually, I was in Gibraltar, you know, just down on the bottom of Spain, British Overseas Territory, with for a reunion with 40 plus ex-shipmates of mine from the Royal Navy, and we had an absolutely wonderful weekend, reminiscing. My face is still aching from laughing at all the different stories. Oh, do you remember that time on so-and-so ship? Do you remember when what's his name did that? Yeah, it was a very good time. And but I'm back here in Nova Scotia now, and as you can see, so behind me, the view that you got is not particularly good, obviously. There's all pallets and stuff, but the whole point of this seat is so that I can look onto my this side veg bed, which is starting to look, as you can see, quite full now. Things are growing nicely. I've had things go over, things coming up again now. So why don't we start having a little look around the garden itself, rather than me just waffling here while you look at the pallets and obviously my good looking face. Anyway, on with the show. So from my seat, I'm again looking at this nice area here. I've got two sort of symmetrical beds which will grow veg in, and in the middle is a bed that I have for cut flowers, etc. So if we stand up and turn round, a bit messy here, I've got to redo these posts, etc. But like I said, here is that seat with the archway. Nothing quite growing up yet. I've got some sweet peas that are very small at the moment. I'm looking to get a rose to go up here, but like I said again, I've got the box either side. They're going to sort of be the framing plants, and we've got some different squashes there, butternut squash and some other sort of squash there, and here, because I just had them loafing about. And I'm going to put some flowers in the middle, and then I'll have annual flowers going around as well as veg, etc. But I have still got a lot of veg beds as it is. So here we have some purple broccolini, which only small florets, and I think that is mainly due to the new sort of compost from last year, still not settled down properly, and I probably need to feed it a bit more. But there, I've just realised, ready to cut. So I'm going to cut the main stem, and they don't have the big stem, but or the big flower, but I'm going to cut them today, and then lots of other little florets will grow on the different plants as side shoots now once I cut the main plant. And on this side I had the green broccolini, and as you can see, I did have a nice big fat one on there and a couple of big fat ones there, so that is good. I've got some asparagus here, and I need to bring this up, that I've transplanted from another bed that I took apart, and I've just left them there because I don't like to leave things go to waste, etc. But they're not going to do me a lot, but you know, they're there. So here we have beetroot, and some weeds, but the beetroot's coming on nicely, and the guys, if you've seen it, are sort of multi-sowed these quite close together so that they'll push out, but we'll have lots of nice little beetroot in a few weeks time there. And I've also got some golden beetroot on this side, so they're going nicely as well. So all the beetroot seems to be growing well. And I've just planted out, there was spinach here, and as you can see that's gone to seed now, but I'm just going to harvest the last of the leaves. But I put in some tomato plants. Right, now they're only small, and I want you to remember those tomato plants when we look in the greenhouse, because the difference between the tomato plants that I planted outside and the ones that I planted in the greenhouse is phenomenal already. So potatoes here, lots of potatoes. So I've got potatoes this side and on that side, two different types of potatoes, hence the size difference in the plants. I think this one's Yukon Gold, always grows nice and big, always a good doer. In here, so we've got gladioli, some, what is that? Dahlias there. Can't remember what that is, flowers. Supposedly sweet peas, but they're not growing very fast. I'm having problems with them lately. In fact, my whole flower bed here isn't particularly doing that well, as it happens. So I've got to hold my hands up there. Like I said, potatoes there again. Look at these beautiful lettuce, this beautiful red lettuce. I've already harvested, I'm cut and come again on these, so I'm just taking out the side shoots as I go along and as I want it. But lovely colour, lovely taste of that as well. Those another 4 tomato plants. What's left of the spinach. Again, more beetroot, some kale there that I've got. What's left of some rockets, so that's gone to seed now. I'm going to leave a few of these because I want to collect the seed on this rockets. So that's nice. I've got this archway still. I'm going to put a proper archway, but at the moment I've still got this one. I've got some runner beans running up here, and these tomatoes again here that I will hopefully be running up the actual framework. Coming round this greenhouse, let's go back. I am now going to turn this greenhouse into a shed. So I'm steadily taking the earth out of the inside, and at the end of the year, in the sort of autumn time, I'm probably going to make that into a hard roof shed of some sort. What else we got here? I've got some chard. Chard is coming on nicely. Some fennel in here, starting to grow nicely, growing that from seed. Here's some yellow beans, bush beans I've got in here, so I've mixed it up in here. Strawberries, had a nice few strawberries out of these. I've got strawberries either side of the bed, but my main strawberry bed is on the other side, which I'll show you in a bit. Some spring onions, or green onions as you say over here, and some weeds. They're only small, they take a long time to grow, but you know, grow more fennel. An onion that I'm growing for the seeds. Got some parsley in here, all looking good. So that is mainly this side already shown. So I've got a good amount of stuff that I'm harvesting, good that's coming. Potatoes soon. The broccoli, that grew really quickly well, so that's been good, been very tasty. This side here, I've got some more potatoes, new potatoes here, and the flowers coming on these, as you can see, so they're going to be ready to harvest soon. That's normally a good sign. And then this is my proper runner bean tunnel, and as you can see in the photograph, it always it looks a bit sparse at the moment, but all of a sudden once the heat comes, they'll be growing like mad, and flowers everywhere, and lots of runner beans. Love runner beans, and they'll grow all the way till the sort of first frost. Look at this one here, it's gone shot up already all the way to the top. Once they get past the slugs having them, they grow nicely in a nice bit of heat. Oh, round here I've got peas. I'm not having much success with peas recently. You know, I've got them growing here nicely, but they're not growing as vigorously as they used to when I first started growing peas in this garden. Not sure what that is. Maybe I'm not watering them enough, but still getting peas. And this is another mixed bed, so I've got some big peas. These are Mr. Big, so you can see they're nice big size pods there. What else we've got? More chard, more fennel, tomato plants. Again, they're going to grow up the framework. I've got some spinach coming again. Got to be quick with that. I'll probably go to seed quite quickly. And some more bush beans growing in here, and more potatoes. Here I've got some squash that is just starting to flower, and another one there. And I'm taking this back bed apart because of the shade of the trees is making it not a particularly good area to grow in. Looks a bit messy, but that's where I took all the earth to put in that new bed with the archway. So I've got to complete this, taking this apart and sort all the back out and that. It's always messy here because this is my compost area and shredding sort of bits. So there we go, that's this bed's all done. Got a nice amount growing there, so I'm really pleased. Let's have a look at the other side, on the other side of the shed. So as you guys know, this is my original area with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4x6 beds and a couple of 2x10s on the end, and these bits I need to sort out in the middle. But we've still got the onions growing here, multi-sown onions all coming on, so white onions and red onions. And as you can see, they're sown quite close together. I get lots in there, don't get massive ones, but good size, good enough for me. Lot of problem with weeds in that, so in that compost I put in there was a lot of weeds or plants that I didn't want in there, and it's been difficult to weed it as well, so bit of a lesson learned there on the compost. But they're growing nicely, still not falling over, so they're still growing. That's good. This was the more broccolini in here, and broccoli, and I've had a good harvest off all of this lot here. Now just going for the side shoots, so that's been a nice amount of broccoli and the broccolini. Now this is a good one. So this obviously is sweet corn or corn. Now these first 6, or this first 2 rows, were, I planted these, I sowed these in the greenhouse. I didn't have a particularly good amount of come through, so I only had the 2 rows, and then I sowed these ones, all the rest of it, afterwards. Now look at the size difference. There isn't. In actual fact, in some cases, the stuff that I sowed direct has gone better than the stuff that I sowed in the greenhouse. So the moral of the story is, we don't always have to be in a hurry to sow our stuff in the greenhouse early, because really they've just come on exactly the same as if, you know, I'd sowed them early. So I needn't have worried about all the fuss of looking after them. Anyway, every year's a lesson learned. Every year's a lesson learned. So this bed here has got carrots in it. These are my first ones. I've had a good pull of some of the carrots, and they're very tasty indeed. And these are the, new rows. And I, was planting them every couple of weeks, so I have some good carrots all the way through the season now. So I'm pleased with the way that's coming on. I know it looks a bit bare, but I want to give them a bit of room. I need to thin these ones out a bit now. This is my strawberry bed, just coming to the end of the season now. Had a good amount of harvest in there, so really pleased with my strawberry harvest this year. Oh look, there's one, you can just see a bit of red over there. This is my out of control blackberry bed. Now it's fallen down, so I need to sort that out this weekend. But as you can see, an absolutely phenomenal amount of blackberries on these bushes, or these canes, so I'm looking forward to a good harvest there. Here's my asparagus bed, and obviously I'm letting it grow out now. So for those of you who don't know about asparagus, and it's great, it comes up every year for, you know, a good 25-26 years, and then you harvest it for about 6 weeks, and then you let whatever else comes through to grow out to give the plant some strength for the next year. So that's all going on now, so that's looking good. They are looking nice and healthy, and the bees are liking the little flowers on there. And on the edges here I've just got some coriander. Horrible weed. Let me get that out. Yeah, lots of coriander, or cilantro as you call it over here in North America and Canada area, and just let that grow there. It comes up in the compost, and lots of nice for the salads and curries. Here is the garlic. So I'll be doing another video on garlic, actually, on the garlic scapes and the different things you can use now. So I need to cut these scapes all off today because I don't want them, because they're the flower stems of the garlic, and I don't want the garlic putting all its energy into the flowers. I want it to put it into the bulbs themselves, so I need to cut all that off today, which I'm going to do. Here is a lettuce bed. Now it looks a bit bare, I'll grant you that, but I just cut down all the spinach that was in there, and I've re-sown. So I've got obviously some lettuce there and some nice different lettuce over there. Got some new seedlings coming up, as you can see, along here and all the way along here. So this lettuce, coupled with the lettuce over the other side and the rocket, etc., that's what I'm harvesting at the moment, and this new stuff will start to come into play over the next few weeks, so that's good. And this back bed, last bed here, these are my autumn fruiting raspberries. So I cut them down every in the winter time, cut them down hard, and then they grow up and they grow on this season's growth. So a good late crop, sort of September, October time of raspberries. Beautiful. Right, so that is that lot done. Let's have a last look in the greenhouse, and especially the difference in the tomatoes. So into the greenhouse now, and obviously this is a nice big greenhouse, hence the reason that I don't need anyway the other greenhouse down the bottom now, although we always need more greenhouse space. Now look at these tomatoes. The difference in the size, 2 or 3 times as big as the other tomatoes already. Now I'm growing them up this string, and I'm growing them straight up, so mostly I'll cut off the side shoots, so the plant can put all its energy to go up in the single shoot, and the tomatoes that come off that, I might let a few side shoots grow. But there we go, that's all the different tomato plants I've got there. And I've got, what are these here? These are cucumbers. Yes, that's what they are, because my cucumber seeds got eaten by mice. So I've got 2 cucumber plants, and they like it in the greenhouse because obviously they're like nice and warm conditions, so I'll keep it nice and moist, but they will grow up nicely up there. And here's my grapevine. I need to cut back a bit actually, but lots of grapes, and I get some really nice tasty dark grapes off this grapevine. But that's growing nicely up there. What else we got in the greenhouse? Chilies. So these are my this is my chili. I think that is a pepper plant, etc., but I overwintered these, hence they are, you know, nice thick stems, nice growth. And you know, even now in July I'm getting chilies off that, so I'm really pleased with being able to overwinter. So if you get a chance to overwinter some of your chili or pepper plants, do so, because you'll get nice early chilies. Here we have some basil in here. These are some pepper plants that have not come on very well. Some thyme that I was just sowing some seed. Here's some more basil, that's going better, and I'll transplant them out of these when they grow a little bit bigger into bigger pots and around the garden, etc. Another chili plant there, growing nice and big and starting to get its little flowers coming there. So again, these were overwintered, really pleased with that. Here is some broccoli, I think. that I will be, again, succession planting later on when they grow up. So don't forget, you know, just because we started in the summer, don't forget that, you know, you want to keep succession planting, whether it be broccoli for later on in the season or what else? Bush beans grow really quickly, you know, your lettuce, etc. All of that sort of stuff, carrots. Keep succession sowing them so that you get a good balance all the way through. Right, anything else we got here? Anything else? Cool for oh, so he's here. So these were the same chili plants as the ones over there, but they grew a bit stronger, and I've transplanted them, and they're growing nice and strong now. So they will be giving me some chilies later on. I'll be potting them up into bigger pots, just like the big ones over there. Get them. Still can't believe how quick those tomatoes grow with a bit more heat. So there we go. There's a little look round the July garden here in Nova Scotia. Lots of things going on. You know, I've been eating, so I started off with asparagus. That was really good. And then I got into some early lettuce and some chard. And then, you know, those last couple of weeks I've been on the broccoli. So trying to, you know, eat seasonally is always a good thing. Strawberries, getting in with the strawberries, and now we'll be looking at what we'll be looking at now. more lettuce, chard, kale I've got in there, carrots. I've started to harvest carrots. So all these different things, you know, we're looking more at the salad sort of thing. So using the coriander, cilantro, to flavour up different dishes. Trying to eat seasonally so that I don't have to buy anything from the, not as much from the shops, and definitely not from America, unfortunately. You guys, boycotting you at the moment. So Mexico's doing okay, but now we're into the summer in Canada, and a lot more produce is being able to come that way. But you know, really looking forward to the chilies now. They'll start to be coming on, and like I said, not in forgetting to do that succession planting to get something more on the side, sow some more seeds so that you can, as soon as there's a gap, like when the garlic, when I harvest that, I'll be putting that broccoli here that I had on the side here, that'll be going in for a later harvest in sort of September time. And when the onions, I'll be putting the basil in there, and lots of things like that. So lots of things going on, lots of things to come. Very exciting. Job's a good one.